Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about European policy in foreign language teaching, and there are 3 points I would like to focus on: common European framework of references, European language portfolio, European profiling grid. The common European framework of reference for languages, learning, teaching, assessment, abbreviated in English as CEFR or CEF or CEFRL, is a guideline used to describe achievements of learners of foreign languages across Europe and increasingly in other countries. The CEFR is also intended to make it easier for education institutions and employers to evaluate the language qualifications of candidates of education admission or employment. It was put together by the Council of Europe as a main part of the project Language Learning for European Citizenship between 1989 and 1996. Its main aim is to provide a method of learning, teaching and assessing which applies to all languages in Europe. In November 2001, European Union Council resolution recommended using the CEFR to set up systems of validation of language ability. The 6 reference levels A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2 are becoming widely accepted as a European standard for grading an individual's language proficiency. The CEFR divides general competencies in knowledge, skills, and existential competence, with particular communicative competencies in linguistic competence, social linguistic competence, and pragmatic competence. This division doesn't exactly match previously well-known notions of communicative competence, but corresponds among them can be made. The CEFR has 3 principal dimensions: language activities, the domains in which the language activities occur, and competencies on which we draw when we engage in them. Language activities. The CEFR distinguishes among 4 kinds of language activities: reception, listening and reading, production, spoken and written, interaction, spoken and written, and mediation, translating and interpreting. Domains. General and particular communicative competencies are developed by producing and receiving text in various contexts, under various conditions and constraints. These contexts correspond to various sections of social life that the CEFR calls domains. 4 broad domains are distinguished: educational, occupational, public, and personal. These largely correspond to register. Competencies. A language user can develop various degrees of competence in each of these domains, and to help describe them, the CEFR has provided a set of 6 common reference levels. From this chart you see the CEFR levels: A1 starter or beginner, A2 elementary, B1 intermediate, B2 upper intermediate, C1 advanced or expert, and C2 proficient or master. The European Language Portfolio (ELP) is designed to support the development of learner autonomy, intercultural awareness, and plurilingualism. Conceived and developed by the Council of Europe in parallel with the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, it allows users to record their experience of learning languages other than their mother tongue, and to assess their language learning achievements against the proficiency levels of the CEFR. In this way, it can serve as a complement to certificates and diplomas. 3 components. The ELP has 3 obligatory components: language passport, language biography, and dossier. Language passport, which represent a regularly updated overview of the owner's linguistic profile. Language biography helps the owner to reflect on his or her language learning and language use focusing on goal setting and self-assessment learning strategies, the intercultural dimension of language learning and plurilingualism, the ability to communicate in two or more languages at any level of proficiency. Dossier is the owner collects samples of work and reflects the language proficiency he or she has achieved or his or her intellectual experience. The ELP is a document in which those who are learning and have learned one or more languages can record and reflect on their language learning and intercultural experience. The ELP was developed and piloted by the Language Proficiency Division of the Council of Europe, Strasbourg, from 1998 until 2000. In October 2000, the Standing Conference of the Ministers of Education of the Council of Europe adopted a resolution recommending the implementation and wide use of the ELP. Its main aims are to help learners give shape and coherence to their experience of learning and using languages other than their first language, to motivate learners by acknowledging their effort to extend and diversify their language skills at all levels, to provide a record of the linguistic and cultural skills they have acquired. Why do we use portfolios? First of all, to motivate, to encourage self-directed learning, to enlarge the view of what is learned, to foster learning about learning, to demonstrate progress toward identified outcomes, to provide a way for students to value themselves as learners. The European Profiling Grid, or EPG, is a framework with descriptors spanning 6 development phases in a language teacher's professional evolution. The EPG is available in 13 languages and is being used by schools, universities, and language teaching institutions in many countries to help language teachers assess their professional strengths and training needs, and to support people who are managing and supporting teachers. What does the EPG contain? The descriptors in the profile grid cover 4 key areas: qualification, teacher training experience, core competencies, methodology, knowledge and skills, lesson and course planning, interaction with and monitoring of learners' assessment, enabling skills such as language awareness, intercultural competence, and the ability to use digital media, and professionalism. The EPG aims to help language instructors of any languages in their own profession improvement. It's additionally an instrument for directors and organizers who are responsible for guaranteeing the quality of language instruction, and for tutors and mentors who offer help and in-service improvement opportunities for language instructors. As its name suggests, the EPG is in the form of a grid or table. One axis is a random of classes of instructor skills. The other is a progression of 6 periods of development going from fledgling instructor to experienced and master instructor. Every cell of the system contains descriptors for one competence area.